What is up, everybody? Welcome back to RacingDudes.com. Today I want to do a little bit of a different video for you guys. I know sometimes, most of the time we do handicapping videos. We try to give you picks, try to give you analysis, kind of show you how we get to certain horses, this, that, and the other. I want to talk about a different subject today and something that I think could really help with your betting down the road, and that is how to bet short-priced favorites. And that is a big key, I think, to horse racing. It's a much debated topic. A lot of times you're going to read on the internet, or whether it's Twitter or whatever, hey, if you bet a short price, that's you're a loser, or it's not what you should be doing, or it's dumb, or whatever. I've never really subscribed to that theory, and I'm going to kind of lay out why I never have in this video. Some of my biggest hits have come with keying short price horses in certain spots, certain situations, and that's kind of what I want to go over today and kind of want to talk about some strategies where, hey, a horse might be 2 to 5. It doesn't mean you just need to guess on 3 horses to try to beat that horse and box them in an exacta or a try and hope that horse doesn't show up at all. You don't necessarily have to do that. So I do want to kind of display a few techniques you can use where, hey, you may handicap a race and, man, I really like that horse, but it's 2 to 5, so I'll just try to hope that he or she doesn't show up, or I'll just skip the race completely. Doesn't really have to be the case. Now, I want to make a couple things very clear before we start. And number one is, I'm not telling you every time you see a short price to do the techniques that I'm going to show in this video. Absolutely do not do that. If you handicap a race and you do not like a short price favorite, that is great. That is great news. That's the easiest way that you could kind of make money and say, hey, I've identified a horse that shouldn't be bet down. I'm going to have some horses here that are big prices that I think are better than that horse. Great. You don't need to worry about this. But this is for the times where you do like the heavy favorite and you do think the heavy favorite is going to show up and run really, really well and win. And so keep that in mind. I'm not saying every time you see a 1 to 5 on the board or a 2 to 5 on the board, do what I'm getting ready to say. No. Beating favorites is still the biggest key to horse racing. Sometimes there are favorites that are tough to get around, and that is when you need to think about trying to use some of this, right? And what I'm talking about here. So again, keep it in mind. There are favorites you need to try to beat, but I've got 3 instances where I personally loved a favorite that I did not think could lose. I lost on one of them, and then the other 2 were winners, and I'll kind of go through what we're talking about. 2 of them are recent, and one of them is from Flightline's Breeders' Cup Classic, because I just think that's a good one and one that stands out. So let me pull up here. I'll move away from my header there. All right. So the Goldenrod last Saturday at Churchill Downs is one that really came up in my mind for a couple of reasons. One, we had a 2 to 5 shot in Hoosier Philly, and number 2. This was one that I really did well on. Now, I don't want this video to come across like a bragging. I'm going to talk about ones we missed too. I really just want this video to be educational about showing how you can make money on short favorites, whether you win or lose. Here's how you bet them, and here's how in the long run you're going to make money doing it. All right, so let's take the Goldenrod first here at Churchill last Saturday. Hoosier Philly was 2 to 5. I had the opinion that this horse, there's no way she was going to lose. Now, again, if you didn't have that opinion, this isn't for you. Like, you could have done a lot of different stuff to try to play around her. I personally thought there was no way she could lose. So here's what you don't do in this situation where you're like, well, this horse is a lock. Don't bet this horse to win, okay? You just can't ever do it. A horse at 2 to 5, betting it to win, in the long run, you are going to lose. You have to be right way too many times to outweigh when you're wrong those 1, 2, 3, 4 times, because that payout is just not there. So no, under any circumstances, I mean, that's probably a little strong. There may be like a special circumstance where a 4 to 5 shot you might play to win, but once they get below that 4 to 5, it's never a good idea. So you don't just say, well, I love this horse, I'm going to load up and play $200 to win, let's say. Betting $200 to win $96 in profit is never a good thing for horse racing. That's why we play horse racing, because we can create value doing other things. So with that being said, I loved Hoosier Philly. I loved the 6 horse in second. I liked the 1 in third. So this was a pretty simple one for me. the first thing you do, and I don't want to oversimplify it, but it really is pretty easy. If you like the heavy favorite on top, and your second choice is a horse like Knock Your Socks Off, well, it becomes very easy. You go to the exacta probables, and instead of, say, you play a boxed exacta or a something like that where it's 3 horses and I box them and that's my bet, or a try, same way. In this situation, you just play it straight. You play your top choice over your second choice straight. And you just go to the exacta probables. They're on the tote boards, or most of us are betting on our phones. They'll be on your pretty much any betting app you use. You can find the probables, right? So in this situation, I liked the 6. The 6 was actually the longest shot on the board. And you look right here, and the exacta for a $2 exacta paid $36.84. So if I'm in that situation, I go and I look, okay, what is the 4 paying with the 6 in a straight exacta? At this point, that's basically 18 to 1. Remember, that's a $2 payoff for $36. So for $1, 18 to 1. And I don't really need to go any further. That's perfect. Now, there also, you liked the 1 horse, Pretty Mischievous, which was the second choice. That may be a little bit different discussion, right? You may look at that exacta probable and say, well, that's only paying 2 to 1 or 3 to 1, let's say. I don't know what it was specifically. I didn't look that one up, but it's probably was much lower because it's the favorite over the second choice. In that situation, you may want to go to the next step, which would be a trifecta. So again, we're not trying to insert horses into this that we don't like. Okay, here's my first choice. Here's my second choice. What's that exacta paying? Oh, it's paying 18 to 1. Great. Okay, say the 1. Here's my first choice. The 1 was my second choice, let's say, in this example. Oh, it's paying 2 to 1. Well, let's go down the road here and let's go to the next step, which is the trifecta. So let's pretend you liked the 4, the 1, and the 6, okay? Instead of, a lot of people will play a $4 or a 4-horse trifecta box for 50 cents. It costs $12. So instead of doing that, you look at this trifecta and you say, okay, I'm going to single this 4 on top, and then I'm going to use 2 horses, the 1 and the 6, and then 2 horses again, the 1 and the 6, in the second and the third spots. So for 50 cents, that would cost you $1 to play. And you look right here, for 50 cents, the payout was $34.67. So essentially, you bet $1 to make $34.67. Now, think about it like this, though. If you spend $12 on a regular trifecta, well, for this, you could play a $6 trifecta for the same price that you would box that 50-cent 4-horse box trifecta. So you maximize your base wagers in these situations because you're not having those combinations to eat up your bankroll, and so you could maximize your potential base wagers to get to that bankroll that you usually play. And all of a sudden, if you're playing a $6 trifecta, you have that trifecta 12 times, right? So it balloons a payout, and then all of a sudden you're getting paid a great sum on a 2 to 5 winning the race and you being right in the second and third spots. Another strategy a lot of people will try to do, they'll try to say, well, I don't like the winner, so I'm just going to play who I like to place. It's not the worst thing to do. However, long term it is, because let's analyze the payouts. So you could play this horse to place, and you could be right, and you could get paid for a $2 wager, $10.64. Or you could play the big favorite that you're thinking, well, he can't, this or she in this situation can't lose, so that's why I'm playing a place. Well, why not just put the favorite on top that you think cannot lose, play that horse in second underneath, and play the exacta? Look at the difference in the payout. $10.40 to place for a $2 wager, or you could go to this exacta and it pays $36.84. I mean, it's a $26 difference. You could see over time that's going to be massive. And even if, say the 1 Pretty Mischief would have won the race, and you still got that place money for the 6 because the 6 got in second. Still, though, over time, those exactas and those prices right there are going to pay more than playing places. So, like I said, place is a better idea than betting like $200 to win on a 2-5, but it's not the best idea. One other strategy you can do, Mike Somich loves doing this, so I want to point this out. The superfecta he loves in these situations. Okay, I like a 2-5 on top. I'll put that 4, in this case, Hoosier Philly on top, and then I'll play 3 horses in the second spot, 3 horses in the third spot, and 3 horses in the fourth spot. So 1-6-8, let's say in this example, with 1-6-8, with 1-6-8. Like I said, the 4 is on top in that situation. And there it is right there. A 10-cent superfecta goes for $43.59. And again, it's just getting a little bit creative with your wagers, getting out of the thought process of, well, this is what I do every day, every time, every race, so I got to do it here. No, when you have to approach this a little bit differently. So that superfecta that I talked about, Hoosier Philly on top, 3 horses underneath in the second, third, and fourth spot. Say you just played that for 10 cents. That would have cost you $2.40 as a wager, and it paid $43.59. These are dream payouts when you're talking about just if you're just betting a win, let's say you like to bet wins. Getting 15-1, 30-1 on stuff, that is very difficult to do if you're just betting a win. And all you're doing here is, okay, here's a lock to win, in your opinion. And then here's these horses I can use underneath to try to get decent payouts, values, whatever you want to call it. So these are dream scenarios. To get $36 on a exacta that you could play straight, that's what you're looking for. And the other thing is, I'm going to talk about one I missed here in a minute. And you miss these a lot and you hit these a lot. So, but if you're making bets where you're getting 35-1 on your dollar or 18-1 on your dollar, you can afford to miss a few before you hit that next one. So again, you can create value around favorites very easily, right? Now, is it easy to hit every bet? Of course not. Are you going to hit them all the time? Of course not. But is it easy to create value around favorites? Yeah, it actually kind of is. You just have to be a little bit creative with your bets, and you have to, just look at the probables of those exactas and kind of go from there. Now, let's go to one that we missed. The Flightline Breeders' Cup Classic is another example here. Obviously, another 2-5 horse, a horse that we didn't think could lose. Now, we did lose this wager, right? We did not have Olympiad in second. We had Taba in second. When we looked at the exacta probables, Taba was paying 6-1 with Flightline. So Flightline over Taba was paying a 6-1. We were, our mouths were watering over that. We had a $50 exacta over that. Getting a $300 return on a $50 bet with a lock in first and who we thought was the best horse in second, we thought that was one of our better bets of the year. Now, the point of this is you're thinking, well, you lost it. Yes, but that's going to happen. Your opinions are never going to always come in, right? But as long as you're making positive valued wagers like this, your opinions will come in enough where you're going to make money on this situation. Now, let's pretend you liked Olympiad to win the race. Look at this exacta. Again, these are dollar payouts. This is one of the more confusing things in horse racing. Some tracks list $2 payouts. Some tracks list $1 payouts. These are Keelan lists dollar payouts, $17.87. So almost 18-1 for that exacta. And again, you look up here at the place, say you played Olympiad to place, that's a $2 payout, $12.38 to play. So basically you're getting 6-1 on the place, where you could come down here and get 18-1 on that exacta. So again, it just kind of shows you the value of going down here, getting a little bit creative with these exactas, tries, and supers, and being able to make money. I heard for months, literally for months after he won the Pacific Classic, I heard everybody, Breeders' Cup's the Classic's unbettable this year. It's stupid. I hate it. It's dumb. I hate when short price favorites are in these races. It's a crazy way to think when I'm sitting here and showing you these examples. And again, I lost this race, right? But 6-1 on Taba with Flightline, 17-1 with Flightline and Olympiad. Olympiad lost one race all year. Like, Olympiad was not a hard horse to get to in that situation. I mean, I didn't see a lot of 18-1 winners on this Breeders' Cup card, right? So, I mean, it was there. Like, there's money to be made. I would venture to say about 85% of the time. There are situations, if it's an extremely short field and there's just no way to really get a lot out of it. But most of the time, there's money to be made in these races. You just have to get a little bit creative. Like I said, you could have played that 4-7 straight exacta and got 18-1 on your dollar. Said we missed it, but some people may have hit it, and that would have been good. Look at this trifecta for 50 cents. This thing paid $41.63. I know Mike Somich had this trifecta. He liked Olympiad a little bit. He did not have the exacta. He was with me at Taba, but he did play that strategy that I'm talking about, Flightline over my next two choices, and his next two choices were the 1 and 7. So 4 over 1-7 over 1-7. Like I said, if you just want to be cheap and play a 50-cent try, that would have cost you $1, and you return $41.63 on that dollar. Guys, 41-1 shots are not easy to find. And this, again, when you have a free square in your mind, these are things you can do. One more, because it just happened, Defunded at Del Mar on Sunday in the Native Diver. This was one. Now, Magic loved Azul Coast, and he thought Azul Coast would beat Defunded. So in his situation, he would not play this race anywhere close to how I played it because he thought the horse would lose. And that's an example. And I don't like every short price, and I will try to do some different stuff to beat favorites as well. But in this situation, I thought Defunded was the speed of the speed, and we get the job done. So here you go. You got Defunded in the race, and you got the other Bob Baffert horse in second. So a Bob Baffert exacta. You come down into the payouts. $10.50 for a dollar wager for a Bob Baffert exacta at Del Mar. It really isn't that complicated when you think of it like that. Now, maybe you didn't like Azul Coast and you missed this one. But again, if you're sitting there 2 minutes before the post and you look, God, I really like Defunded. I like Azul Coast in second, and you look, and that exacta is paying 10-1. I mean, it's a no-brainer to bet it, right? And if you missed it, you go to the next one. And if you can get 10-1 on that one, or 8-1, or 12-1, again, you're making positive expected value wagers. That is the whole key to the whole thing. Even down here, this trifecta, Newgrange was third. Now, to be very honest, I hated Newgrange in this race, so I would not have hit this trifecta. You had a Bob Baffert trainee, which was the exacta that I liked. I did not like Newgrange. I missed the try. But you can say, okay, Newgrange, former Bob Baffert trainee. So I'll just go all three of those horses. I'll go Defunded over those two, play it for 50 cents. It's a dollar wager. And I come back 19-15. So you're getting 19-1. That's still really good with a short price on top. So, and again, another example, this is another good one to point out why. Okay, it might be okay to play the place, but overall, probably not what you should do in the long run. This is a $2 payout if you just played the place here on Azul Coast. That's about 3.5-1 for a dollar payout. You come down to the exacta, you're getting 10-1. So, you know, some people love to play the place, and I always hate it when like you have a person, they've had success doing something and you tell them it's wrong. I'm not one to do that. If you want, like, place is my bet, and this is how I've made money for years. It's like, well, okay, but you are. I mean, it's math more than opinion, right? You are leaving money on the table when you do it. Okay, and that's just the thing. I have a problem with anybody saying you're wrong or you're dumb for what you do, and I'll never do that. But just when you look at the mathematics of it, it does make sense what I'm saying, right? Now, if it was a situation where I think Azul Coast is going to finish second and I have no idea who's going to win, well, maybe that's a different discussion. But in these situations, if you're playing a place just because you are so confident that a horse is going to win that I have to play the place now, it's smart not to do that and just play that exacta instead. Like you said, you're leaving $7 on the table, and you might cash that place bet on Azul Coast, but at the same time, you've left money on the table when you could have just played your other opinion with that second opinion and gotten, 7 more bucks on your dollar wager. So I know that's kind of a lot to throw out. Some people watching this video probably have done this or know, and if you're beginners, I know that's a lot to kind of throw out, a lot of numbers. we're going to try to do some more videos like this to kind of just show you examples of how you can make money playing big time favorites. And you got to get past the whole, this horse is 2 to 5 in a race, I have to skip it, or I just have to randomly pick a couple horses and hope this horse doesn't show up. You don't have to play that way. This is a very logical way to play. I've been doing this a long time, I think 15 years now or more. This is one of the most successful strategies I have week in and week out in horse racing. You always want balloons, you always want huge prices, but you can create decent payouts around short price favorites. And again, 3 things that I'll kind of mention to end it, to kind of summarize this up. Again, I don't want to get people the wrong idea. If you do not like a favorite, that is great. That's awesome. But you don't have to always play against a favorite, right? If you like a favorite, you can play, and this is kind of how. So number 1, you don't do this every single time. If there's horses you don't like, definitely still go against them. 2, you're not going to hit these every single time. But if you're playing wagers where you're getting that value of 10 to 1, 18 to 1, 8 to 1, whatever, over time, you're going to be profitable with this. And number 3, again, nothing is easy in horse racing. Nothing is a no-brainer, or this or that, or all this kind of stuff. But it is a no-brainer to look at probables and make decisions on your bets based on that, right? Anybody can do that. Anybody can look at an exacta probable and go, wow, I can't believe that's paying 12 to 1. I need to play it. Or wow, that's paying 2 to 1. Now let's see if I can make money with a try, and just kind of go through your checklist. Or then if not a try, a super, go through your checklist like that. So, all right, guys, hopefully that helped out a little bit here. Like I said, it's a lesson I've learned over the years that, I was that way once, where it's just like, yeah, forget these favorites. But there are times where they're really, really tough to beat. There's times those really, really tough to beat horses do lose. I can't argue that. But a lot of times they win, and you can create a lot of value around them. All right, guys, thanks everybody for watching this video. Hit like if you like it. Hit subscribe if you really like it. And we'll see you next time.
RacingDudes.com is your home for the best free picks for every race, every track across the country. We're ramping up for the 2023 Kentucky Derby, and we want you to join us in the fun. Subscribe to Racing Dudes YouTube channel and click the notification bell so you never miss a single video. Want to make money betting horses? Bet with the Racing Dudes.